This is Jonah Dempsey, and I'm in Ibiza. I'm just going to wrap up our series. So, thank you for watching. If you've been watching all of the videos on the elements of compatibility, I just want to do a quick recap. So, we looked at tone, the mood setter. We looked at color, resilience, and the spectrum from pessimism to optimism. And then we just looked at line, which is reactivity, and the first and second lines being reactive, third and fourth lines being opportunistic, fifth and sixth lines being initiating, with the caveat that manifestors are the only ones who have the life force energy here to initiate, but the fifth and sixth line role, if we could call it that, is initiating. And maybe I'll look at that just one more time in a moment. I just want to do the recap really quick, just to make sure everybody has all the information, the keys you need for further experimentation and kind of seeing what you can discover here. So starting with tone, you really want to look at happiness. What makes you happy? What puts you in a really good mood? Now, obviously, you have individual circuitry. If you have individual circuitry, even if you don't, we're not always going to be in a good mood. We're going to get melancholy. We're going to be in a mood. But there's a certain touchiness to mood that I think this addresses. And when you have your tonal needs met, if we could call it that, right, then your mood is going to be, you're going to be even in a good mood about being melancholy if you're melancholy, or you're going to be in a good mood about having your alone time. It's almost like this level of I don't know. It's a very fundamental level of happiness. Like you're going to be like contentedness, like the difference between. Yeah. Yes, I love one. That'd be fantastic. Yes, cappuccino. Great, perfect. Thank you. So the contentedness of, am I content with where I am? Am I content with what I'm doing? Am I content even the fact that I'm feeling a little melancholy, feeling blue, or feeling alone? Sipping my cappuccino, looking out at the snow falling, that kind of thing. Am I content in that? Well, I have splenic tones on the design side and I have respect tones on the personality side. As long as I feel splenically successful and as long as I feel respected and understood, I'm in a pretty good mood about it. Going on, and then, of course, then looking at the nodes. Who am I drawn to? Who are you drawn to? Look at the tones of your nodes, and you can kind of get a hint of like, I'm a pretty type A person. I like other type A people like me. I'm drawn to success tones, left variable on the personality side, but I'm also drawn to very not type A people, very quality of life people that really know how to make a place feel good and know how to have all those creature comforts and things like that. Feeling tones on the design side nodes. Okay, going on to look at resilience. So I'm a medium resilience person, both personality and design. Um, I'm drawn to other medium resilience people like myself, as well as low resilience people. So because I have no high resilience colors, I have no fifth or sixth colors anywhere in my sun, earths, or my nodes, this is going to be an area where I'm really going to need to understand people who are high resilience. And sometimes I don't understand it. Sometimes the innocence people who say it's all for the greater good, I want to scream, it's not for the greater good. You know what I mean? This is maybe an area of learning for me where I can really learn how other people live. And also just realizing that I don't have to spend a ton of time with really high resilience people. If they start on about how everything's for the greater good, personality, high resilience, guilt, or innocence, I can accept that and kind of move on. You know, if they're high resilience in the design side, maybe they're going to be a lot more higher tolerance than I am, or than the kind of people I'm drawn to for things that I would consider dangerous, risky, difficult, all sorts of things, right? We're going to have to go into each of these, and by we, I mean you, each of these nuances in further study, further analysis, because I don't want to oversimplify any of these, but just given the keynotes, knowing that I'm a medium resilience person, a very realistic person who is drawn to people who are realistic or pessimistic, I'm very skeptical of optimists. Okay, and finally, we're looking at line, and this is the one I'll just spend a little bit more time on. So looking at the line level, yeah, I mean, I have an initiating personality, and yet I'm not a manifester. How does that work? I went into that in the previous video a little bit. And then I have a very reactive design side, and realizing that I can be very unconsciously reactive, or I can react to things unconsciously. Sometimes I need to just take a moment and remind myself even that this too shall pass. I feel like the more reactive you are, the more totalizing, sometimes catastrophizing, sometimes things become so, you know, big at that moment. It's the good memory, is the good reminder, is like, this too shall pass. And just because I'm reacting this way now doesn't mean I'm going to react this way tomorrow. But it also means that you're deeply affected in the same way that the lower colors can be deeply affected. So it is a little bit like this vulnerability almost to be so reactive. And I think just remembering that, like the great advice that I give to people who are in a relationship with someone who's a 1-3, right, the most reactive profile there is, or even a 1-4 or a 2-4 or a 2-5 with those reactive personalities, is, hey, it's okay that they're reactive. Just remember they can react equally strongly the opposite way. So if they react maybe being hurt, then they can also react quickly being healed. If they react being mad, they can also react quickly forgiving, quick to anger, quick to forgive kind of thing. So yeah, I mean, these are just some of the things to really look at. And then I guess just on the topic of line, just looking at these keynotes and seeing how the role the line plays, that the first and second lines are meant to be deeply affected or reactive to things. The third and fourth are kind of both opportunistic. The third line is reactive opportunistic. The fourth line is unreactive, non-reactive opportunistic. And then the fifth and sixth line are here to kind of initiate. And we looked a little bit about that, but it's almost like even just in having a conversation, the fifth and sixth line might change the topic. Might be the one that says, okay, we've got off track. Let's get back to what our goal is here, or let's get back to what we were talking about. So there's some interesting little nuances there. I'm going to do one more video. I'm going to do it actually on the level of color. This is the recap of everything, but I've realized I neglected to cover one of the most interesting topics of color, which is the groupings 1, 3, 5, and 2, 4, 6. We've already looked at the groupings in pairs, and we also looked at the groupings by transference briefly, like the first transfers to the fourth, third to the fifth, or sorry, second to the fifth, third to the sixth. I'm going to do one more video, so stay tuned for the next video. In the next video, we're going to look at what happens when we group the alternating colors, and maybe we'll also raise the question of if there are any interesting commonalities we can find with the alternating lines and the alternating tones, and how we can apply some of what we've been learning at this level of analysis to that grouping. Thanks for watching.